Wait a minute. Wait, I don't see my model in here. What the heck? 8 months ago, I made a video on the VTube Studio app. That video came from me knowing that when I wanted to know about VTubers, I wanted to know, okay, what is this 2D VTuber thing using? Oh, okay, they're using a VTube Studio app. How does that thing work? So it's like a face tracking app. It is a place that hosts your VTuber model. And I was so excited when I opened it up and it had like the Akari model. Hiyori is the one that Neurosama used to use. Now they have a a custom model. What it did not come with was a Freddy Fazbear model. It was my own customized model. By the way, you can't get Freddy Fazbear in Paima models. I will link them below. They have a bunch of really cool free models to use. Now, why doesn't it come with your own customizable model? Well, because a VTuber model takes a lot of work. So how can you get your own? Like I mentioned with the Paima models, this is called a pre-made model. There are some that are customizable. There are some that have one look, like Freddy Fazbear. Now, a customizable model may help you choose different outfits, different hairstyles. They usually cost a bit more, but the ones that will always cost a bit more are the ones that are a one-person usage. Like you get the license and everything. Pre-made models typically are made for multiple people to use. You can find them on websites like this. And these pre-made models are very good. They are very discounted too. Custom model, that means one that you're commissioning someone to make for you, typically run from $1,000 and up for complex ones. If you want a simple one, they can be a little cheaper. For pre-made models, they usually cost $0 to $100. So you can see the difference is huge. The pros for getting a pre-made model is 1, easier to just get it and go. Once you have the model, you can just go like this. Press here, import your own model. This is the path of where the folder is going to be. Oh, look, the folder opened up. What happens is that you'll get a folder with your model in it. You just drag wherever it is into here and open this back up. It'll appear as an icon here and you can get started and use it. Awesome. Easy to just import, use. Now you can make your content. It's also solving one of the biggest issues for VTubers. A lot of VTubers, especially before when pre-made models weren't really a thing, people would spend thousands of dollars getting a custom model. Then they would realize they really don't like their design. It does not fit them at all. So they pay another $1,000 to get a different model. Redesigning is wonderful and fun, but it is not so fun when you buy a model that you end up really disliking because it doesn't fit you. I mean, I went through this. The first model I made was a very fantastical witch model, and I really did like her, but more like an OC. When I would use her, I felt like it just didn't fit me. I only learned that after working on that model for a year. I used her for about 3 months and not even consistently before I started making my next model. And though I lost a lot of time, I also didn't lose much money. How pre-made models solve this is that you can try out many different models. You can try customizable models, and because it doesn't cost too much, you can really get a feel for it and it doesn't hurt you as much. So 1, great to get started immediately. 2, lets you play around with different styles and find the style that fits best for you. 3, low cost to entry. The cost is that there is still money that you'd pay unless you find a free one that works for you. Now, if you have a customizable model, you'll have to customize it within the VTube Studio app using this hotkeys and expressions tool. I have a whole video on it, so if you want that tutorial, you can check it out right here. I also have another video that you can check out on the VTube Studio app in general. Now let's talk about creating your own VTuber model through art and animating. For the art program, you're going to need anything that is able to export in a PSD file with layers. So your layers need to be there because every layer is the thing that's going to move. It is going to be the art mesh. Make sure you are cutting up everything that you want to move on its own. So you can see this, look at the hair. All of them are moving separately. Look at the eyes here. I cut up so many pieces so you can especially see it if I blink. Next, you're going to import that PSD file into Live2D. Now, Live2D has a free version, a pro version, and a free trial. The free version is limiting. Your number of texture files are limited. Your number of motion parameters or number of deformers, number of parts, all of this is limited. The model I have today with all the toggles that it has would not be rigged in just the free version. Good thing about the pro version is if you are a student, you get an amazing discount. You can have it for $62 or up. You know, inflation happens, so I don't know what's gonna happen, for a 3-year plan. The price does go up if you're not a student. You also get a 42-day free trial for the pro version. Potentially, if you finish your art model, if you watch a couple of Live2D tutorials, then you can rig your model within those 42 days and come out with a model that you did not need to pay Live2D for. I tried to do this and I got 2 models out of it, but not the VTuber model that I was trying to rig. That's because it was a lot to learn. So honestly, I had my VTuber model ready. I realized this is not gonna happen. So I made a chibi model and a cat head model to slowly learn more and more. So within 42 days, I learned how to make the face move with the cat head model, and then I learned how to make a whole body and outfit changes, all of that within my chibi model. I ended up having to pay for Live2D, which I was perfectly fine with because I kept upgrading this model. I made a bunch of different toggles. I made a bunch of different other models. Everything I learned helped me get to this model. This is not my original full body model, but it is the one I love the most. So how can you learn to make your own model? I like these people. These are the resources I use. Essentially, you can just go on YouTube, you can go on Twitter, search for Live2D tips. I really like to look at study files. Some of them are free, some of them cost money. I think that if you're paying for them, you're saving yourself on time. If you're not paying for them, it may cost you time because now you have to go and search for a bunch of different things to know how to do this one big thing, right? Just Novage is really good at mouth movements. Beauty Dragon does a lot of tutorials on everything. Yoshino Art also does a lot of tutorials. I also have an eye rigging tutorial here. I don't go over physics, so that's where I would definitely check out Yoshino Art, who goes over the physics. I didn't have my ears this whole time! I knew there was something off. You can always ask your questions on the Discord server. Live2D Cubism also has some free model files that you can look at. And when you're done, you just export it and do the same thing I taught you before. This import your own model is applicable to everything I say. Pros of making your own model. You are able to create and design your own and as many as you want. You're able to give yourself so many hairs and clothes and whatever else. And you're able to do this without adding the cost. Because when you ask a person to make a custom model for you and make different hairs and clothes, that is going to up the price significantly. Not like 10, 20 bucks, but like hundreds of dollars. If you want to add something new, like, oh, I want to be a V-bridger or I want to lean, like this new trend that VTubers are doing, well, you can do that on your own at your own time. Otherwise, if you have to ask like your custom model artist, maybe they don't have the time, maybe they're not even doing it anymore, or it's gonna cost you additional money. And for pre-made models, really just forget it. That's not gonna happen. At the same time, what does this cost you? It costs you time and a subscription fee if you're continuously, if you want to buy the Live2D Pro version. And maybe a art program fee as well. Depends on what you use. This cost does not at all match up to the cost of a custom model. Now the last one, commissioning your own model. A lot of VTubers will tell you, choose the first two first before going into this one, because this one is like you should have a good idea of your branding, of your style, if you're going to pay so much for a model, right? Now you can get some very, very simple models for a good price, but usually models are going to cost around $1,000 or up. And these are for professional big models. Like what I have right now, this would be considered one of the bigger professional models. How can you find the artist and the rigger that you want for your model? I really recommend checking out your favorite VTubers or even if they're not your favorite VTuber, but the ones that you like their look of. Go to their credits page, wherever that is, in their bio or a Google Doc, see who their artist and rigger is. Now go to their Twitter page. Jenny is the artist and rigger. Let me check out Jenny's page. Oh, let me check out Jenny's prices and wait lists. Is she open? How much are her prices? You know what? That's out of my range. What can I do now? Now, what I like to do, I like to check people they repost or engage with. Maybe there are other live 2D riggers. Maybe there's people that they recommend. I usually find that to be the case. So there's other people they recommend. Okay, cool. Let me scroll down. See here. Ah, Tom, I like the way he makes their stuff. So let me go and click on Tom's page. Check out his stuff. I think I'm gonna go with Tom. Ta-da, that's how you find your rigger. Make sure though, they have a proof of their work, a portfolio. You can check out the other people that are using their models and verify that that's correct, that this is really the rigger. Because there are people that lie and they'll be like, I made this model, and they did not. I found a lot of scams going on in Fiverr specifically with VTuber models. I'll say they created this big VTubers model and they did not. So just be careful wherever you're trying to find your artist and rigger. Pros and cons to this one. You get to not do any work besides having a reference sheet, like showing them something and communicating with your artist and rigger. You do not have to do much more than that. Make sure to give them really good references because you want it to be your vision, right? The artist cannot read your mind. You can just tell them everything in your mind so you can get what you like. But make sure to know this, that the price goes up with different things. Just read their terms of services, really see if this is the type of artist and rigger that you want to work with because they have different rules. Like for example, something that came up that people didn't like this. As you can see, there's a whole note on it because people were upset by it. Some artists and riggers have voiced concerns about certain filters, mostly related to filters that distort the model in any way. Before using these filters, it is recommended to get permission from the people who made your model to prevent any potential disagreements with them in the future. For example, some artists may not like that you're doing this to their art. Some artists also may not like that you're changing hair colors and other parts of your model colors. That will be on their terms of services, or you can ask them. Another pro is like if you're not someone that can draw and you want something that's customized, like you get your OC coming to life. It is your specific idea. It is brought to life, and that is so cool. A cons of it is that it is the most expensive route, and the second con is time. You're still going to have to wait until the artist and rigger are free to make your model, and then you're gonna have to wait until they make your model, which usually takes a month or more. Waiting time, it can take up to a long time depending on how many people they're rigging ahead of you. A big mistake I see VTubers make is that they get a date on when the model is going to be finished, or like they hope to be finished, and they choose that date or that week to be the date that they debut. I really do not recommend this. I recommend a couple weeks after they get their model. It's hard to say, but I do recommend giving some room because when you get your model back, now it's your time to test it. See if there's any mistakes. Like you can see here, behind my red ear, there is a little star there because I wanted to add this little, look, there's a shine when I put the ball toggle on. I forgot to hide it. And things like that are things that you want to go and bring back to your model, rigger, whoever did it, and just be like, hey, there's this mistake. Can you fix it? If it's something simple like this, it's not going to take that long. But if it's something more complex, it's just going to take some time. So you want to have like a testing period before your big debut. Because what I see a lot is people make it the day they get it back, and then they have to push their debut back because they realize like, oh, my model's not ready. Like things are not ready. And it may be more than just that. So that's one of the cons. There's still a wait period. Thank you for going on this ride with me. That is how you can get your own 2D VTuber model. You can go to the 3D route. I am not a 3D VTuber and thus cannot talk about 3D. I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments that say Vroid is something you can use and it's free and it's awesome. And I also agree with that sentiment. I think that Vroid is really nice to be able to make yourself a custom model basically for free. But, you know, there's a learning curve there too, which I have no clue on. So I'll leave it at that. One more thing I will say though is I don't think you need as much artistic skills for Vroid because you can find a lot of like pre-made items in Booth.pm. I hope this video helped expand the world of making your own VTuber. And if you want to see videos that are alike like this, I have a how to be a VTuber playlist so that you can find a bunch of different tips and tricks and get to know this application in the live 2D world more, or the 2D world more. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I just whacked you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Take care, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.